and welcome to Indus News. Live from Islamabad, I'm Naila Shuja and these are the headlines. Israeli forces have once again raided the Al-Aqsa Mosque in occupied Jerusalem and arrested 4 employees. In a statement, the Palestinian Foreign Ministry said Israel has not stopped its policy of violating the mosque's sanctity. Meanwhile, the United Arab Emirates says it stands ready to facilitate peace efforts between Israel and the Palestinians. In Myanmar, the anti-coup insurgents claim to have killed at least 13 security members in eastern Mobile town. Local media says the People's Defense Force also seized a police station and captured 4 Myanmar soldiers. Meanwhile, a gun battle also broke out between security forces and an alliance of 4 ethnic groups in Muse town. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, thousands of people have fled their homes in Goma City after Mount Nyiragongo's volcano erupted. Authorities say lava sent homes on fire and engulfed the main road out of Goma, cutting it off from cities in the north. Mount Nyiragongo's volcano is one of the world's most active and is considered among the most dangerous. The study by Public Health England has found that a double dose of coronavirus vaccines is highly effective against the Indian variant. India is currently battling a rise in rare fungal disease hitting COVID-19 patients as the country's overall death toll approaches 300,000. In Pakistan, the number of infections has surpassed 900,000, while the death toll currently stands at 20,251. The virus has infected more than 166 million people worldwide and has claimed at least 3.4 million lives. And in motorsports, Britain's Alfyn Evans has retained his overnight lead after the early stages of the Portuguese rally. The Toyota driver pressed his home in advantage to lead Spaniard Dani Sordo's Hyundai over by 26 seconds. Championship leader Sebastian Ogier of France lies in third place, nearly a minute and a half behind Evans. For more news and details, stay tuned. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back. The Israeli forces have once again raided the Al-Aqsa Mosque in occupied Jerusalem and arrested 4 employees. In a statement, the Palestinian Foreign Ministry said Israel has not stopped its policy of violating the mosque's sanctity.
Just a few hours after the United Nations Security Council calls for full adherence to a ceasefire agreed between Israel and Hamas, the Israeli forces detained at least 14 Palestinians during raids across the occupied West Bank overnight. Palestinian Foreign Ministry said such Israeli attacks hurt the ceasefire efforts. Earlier, Mauritania's parliament urged the International Criminal Court to prosecute Israeli officials for genocide in Gaza. Over in Europe, the European Union's policy chief has termed the number of civilian casualties in Gaza unacceptable. Joseph Borrell urged they return to meaningful negotiations toward a 2-state solution. He said EU cannot be expected to finance yet again the rebuilding of Gaza without a meaningful prospect of actually solving the underlying conflict. UN's Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs says nearly 50% of Gaza's water network has been destroyed. It said the airstrikes have left approximately 800,000 people without access to clean, piped water.
The European Union has slammed a proposal by Myanmar's election commission to dissolve deposed leader Aung San Suu Kyi's party. In a statement, a spokesperson of the European Union Commission said no repression can guarantee or grant legitimacy to the military's illegal takeover of power. Earlier, Myanmar Election Commission floated a proposal to dissolve Suu Kyi's NLD over alleged vote fraud in November's election. Meanwhile, fighters opposed to the military junta have seized a police station in the eastern town of Mobile. The People's Defense Force also claimed to have killed at least 13 members of security forces. Over 800 people have died in daily protests as February's coup, which ousted the elected government. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, the entire city of Goma, with over 2 million inhabitants, is being evacuated after a large volcano erupted, spewing tons of ash into the sky. Fountains of high lava burst from Mount Nyiragongo into the night sky, forming a thick orange cloud over Goma.
A new fracture opened up on the volcano, enabling lava to flow south towards Goma and reach the airport. Electricity was out across large areas, while one highway that connects Goma with the city of Benai had already been engulfed by the lava. Thousands of panic-stricken residents carrying belongings fled to the city, even on foot, with many heading towards Rwanda. Nyiragongo volcano is one of the world's most active volcanoes and is considered among the most dangerous. Its last eruption in 2002 killed 250 people and left 120,000 homeless.
Yemen's Houthi rebels have threatened possible expanded attacks on what they called aggressor countries. In a tweet, Mohammed Ali al-Houthi said if the blockade and aggression continues, Houthis will strike on unexpected sites. The group's Supreme Revolutionary Committee's head also dismissed U.S. sanctions on Houthi officials. Washington has imposed curbs on 2 Houthi military officials, leading an offensive to seize Yemen's Marib region. Earlier, U.S. Special Envoy on Yemen, Tim Lenderking, called for de-escalation and pressed for a ceasefire deal. Iran says a 3-month monitoring deal between Tehran and the UN nuclear watchdog has expired. Parliament Speaker Mohammad Baghir Ghaliba said that the agency would no longer access images of Iran's nuclear sites. International Atomic Energy Agency's chief Rafael Grossi is set to hold a new conference today. Earlier, the agency said it was in talks with Tehran on how to proceed with the monitoring deal. In Afghanistan, unidentified gunmen have killed the head of a religious scholar council in Parvan province. Local officials say the incident occurred near a school in Jabal Siraj district. The attackers fled after the assassination. So far, no group has claimed responsibility for the attacks. Violence in Afghanistan has significantly risen as U.S. and NATO troops begin to withdraw from the country after 20 years. India has recorded over 3,700 deaths from COVID-19 and more than 240,000 positive cases in the past 24 hours. Globally, the virus has claimed more than 3.4 million lives and has infected over 166 million people.
For the past 2 months, India has been living a COVID nightmare as it struggles to contain the virus amid piling deaths. New Delhi's already staggered vaccination campaign has hit a wall after completely running out of supplies. With nearly 9,000 people now infected with the fatal black fungus, the Indian government has told doctors to look out for signs of black fungus in COVID-19 patients. As the virus spreads to rural areas, poor health infrastructure and a lack of testing have forced many to turn to unlicensed clinics.
There is an atmosphere of fear among the people because of the second wave of the pandemic. People are not stepping out of their homes. We are not getting any government facilities. A small team came and checked a few people and left. After that, no one has come to the village to check on us. We do not have any facilities here.
A new study has found that both Pfizer and AstraZeneca jabs are highly effective against the strain of the COVID-19 virus found in India. Meanwhile, a guide says a COVID-19 outbreak on Mount Everest has infected at least 100 climbers and support staff. In England, a new triple mutant coronavirus variant detected first in Yorkshire is under investigation. New data shows that more than 50 million coronavirus vaccine doses have now been given in England.
I've been really thrilled by the levels of vaccine uptake. I mean, in people over 50, 95% of people have now had the jab, but we want that to be as high as 100%. Of course we do. And then as we've gone down the age groups, the uptake's been fantastic. 4 in 5 people in their late 40s have already had the jab. And so we're seeing this incredible level of take-up at all ages.
While Western nations buy and stock millions of vaccines, only 25 million doses have been administered in the whole of the African continent. The World Health Organization has termed the disparity tragic.
Pakistan has recorded 74 more deaths from coronavirus in the past 24 hours. The health ministry says fatalities toll has surged to 20,251. The caseload has surpassed the 900,000 mark with nearly 3,100 new infections overnight. The ministry says over 817,000 people have recovered from the disease so far. It said there are more than 62,000 active cases in the country. Nearly 4,400 of them are in critical condition. In China's northwestern Gansu province, 21 people have died and 8 others got injured after extremely cold weather struck during an ultra-marathon. In a press briefing, local officials said 172 people were taking part in the Yellow River Stone Forest race near Baiyangyan City. They said 151 runners have been rescued. Local authorities said hail, freezing rain, and gales in the area resulted in the temperature drop. Officials said a landslide following the severe weather hampered the rescue work. The Gansu government said it had formed a special group to investigate the incident. In Vietnam, voters are casting their ballot in the parliamentary elections today. 866 candidates are contesting for the 500-seat National Assembly. Some 92% of candidates are members of the Communist Party, which also essentially vets independent candidates. Nearly 69.2 million Vietnamese people are registered to vote. They will also vote for members of the People's Councils at provincial and district levels. Election results are expected to be announced after about 2 weeks. Vietnam is battling a new COVID-19 outbreak that is spreading rapidly and has infected over 2,000 people since late April. It's now time for a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. The U.S. is extending the ban on deporting Haitians back to their country for 18 months. In a statement, the State Department of Homeland Security said social concerns and human rights abuses in Haiti led to the decision. It said the COVID-19 pandemic has worsened the dire economic situation and lack of access to food, water, and health care. The move enables Haitian nationals currently residing in the U.S. to file applications for temporary protected status. Haiti was initially designated for the program in 2010, but the Trump administration had suspended the program. However, the temporary protection had remained in effect due to the litigation challenging the decision. Nigeria's army chief has been laid to rest in the capital, Abuja. Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru and 10 other officers, including the crew, had died in a plane crash yesterday. Atahiru only took up his post in January in an overhaul of the military's top brass. The army said the plane was trying to land in bad weather in the Kaduna International Airport. The presidency said Atahiru was an official visit to the northern state that faced security challenges in recent months. The Air Force says it is investigating the cause of the crash. One of the only 2 women on Sudan's ruling Sovereignty Council has announced her resignation from the transitional setup. In a video statement, Aisha Musa accused the military-dominated transitional government of ignoring civilian voices. The transitional 14-member military-civilian council was set up after the Sudanese army toppled autocrat Omar al-Bashir in 2019. Aisha said the civilian component in the council has become just a logistical executive body. She said it only stamps the approval of pre-prepared decisions. Musa also accused transitional authorities of leading the country to more killing, injustice, and poverty. She said she submitted her resignation on the 12th of May after the security forces killed 2 protesters. In Peru, thousands of people took to the streets to protest against the conservative presidential candidate Keiko Fujimori. Demonstrations were held in more than 20 cities against the right-wing candidate. The protesters chanted slogans against the Popular Force Party candidate, calling her a threat to the country. Fujimori will be competing with socialist Pedro Castillo in a second-round ballot in June. She is the daughter of former President Alberto Fujimori, who is in jail over human rights abuses and corruption. She has been under investigation for allegedly receiving $1.2 million from a construction company during her first presidential bid. In Bolivia, authorities have discovered and destroyed a cocaine laboratory inside a natural park in the northern Amazon department of Beni. Police found the tarpaulin-covered makeshift factory hidden in a section of the park. Interior Minister Carlos Eduardo del Castillo says the laboratory had 11 rooms. The minister said 110 kilograms of crystallized cocaine was manufactured per day in the lab. Bolivian authorities have found 5 mega drug labs in recent days, 2 of which were located on a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The anti-drug squad have seized a record of more than 7 tons of cocaine over the past 4 months. Tibet is celebrating the 70th anniversary of its peaceful liberation. In 1951, the government in Lhasa and Beijing signed an agreement that led to Tibet becoming an autonomous governing region inside the Republic of China. Speaking at a press conference, regional government head Shi Dal-ha said Tibet has made historic social and economic progress. He hailed China's help in ending epidemics and the overall progress of the region. Billionaire Richard Branson's space tourism firm Virgin Galactic has completed its 3rd successful spaceflight. The success has cued the company's aims of launching customer flights to suborbital space from the next year. According to the company, the rocket-powered plane VSS Unity carrying 2 pilots reached an altitude of 55.45 miles. The Virgin Galactic has 600 customers signed up already to fly to the edge of space for a $250,000 ticket. The company says the tickets will be sold at a higher price than previously when the sales reopen. Britain's Prince William impressed professional race drivers as he showed off his driving skills in Scotland. He took eco-friendly sports vehicle for a spin around the circuit while visiting the electrical off-road series Extreme E. The Duke of Cambridge was taken on a short walking tour of a racetrack in Fife. He also viewed the motorsport company Extreme E's hydrogen fuel cell for charging cars using zero-emission energy. The company aims to highlight climate change and promote sustainability by racing in remote parts of the world affected by global warming. Williams' visit comes ahead of the UN Climate Change Conference to be held in Glasgow this summer. In France, Patrick Villos owns a sanctuary for lions, bears, and laboratory primates southwest of Paris. Now he is planning an extension before a ban on circus animals comes into effect.
Villos plowed 25 million euros of his own money into a sanctuary for lions, bears, and laboratory primates. One pair of lions was rescued from Spain, where their owner paraded them for tourists to take photographs on beachfronts and in nightclubs. Their claws had been ripped out and they had no mane after being castrated at birth. In another enclosure lives a macaque who was subjected to experiments related to neurological diseases for most of her 22 years. After she picked lice off another monkey, she would have been euthanized if the sanctuary had not taken her in.
Canelle
is the oldest macaw we have. She was put in a lab cage when she was 2 years old. She worked for 3 steady cycles on Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's. Canelle still has 15 years to live. She must be 22 now, but I don't see her age because I love her so much. Her life was taken from her for 19 years to work for us. So if we humans don't owe her retirement instead of euthanasia, what are we doing on Earth?
Violas says his facility is a refuge above all for animals that need it when there is no other solution. Now that France has banned circus animals, Violas says numerous circus owners have called to reserve space at the shelter. Paulo Teixeira is a former circus trainer who now works at Violas Animal Refuge.
I really don't know of any other place where you can have this many animals. Because there are places for tigers, places for monkeys, but we can accommodate any kind of animal, from elephants to tigers and cats. Everything. What we want is to help animals.
The ban will be phased in over 5 years once the new law, now with the Senate, comes into effect. There are some 80 traveling circuses in France with more than 200 big cats, elephants, hippos, wolves, and other animals. Viola says his is one of the 3 sanctuaries able to look after wild animals and the only one with spare capacity.
In the United States, more than 1,200 film and television memorabilia are set for auction in June at the prop store in Santa Clarita, California.
The prop store says they have got something for everyone as they arrange their biggest ever auction. Bidders will be able to view the full catalogue of items via Zoom and make their purchases online and by phone globally. Among the hundreds of items, collectors will find memorabilia from films like Terminator 2: Judgment Day, Batman, Elf, Top Gun, and The Muppets, to name a few. Harry Potter's wand and eyeglasses worn by Daniel Radcliffe promised to be one of the most sought items.
This is the first time that the Warner Brothers archive has released Harry Potter's wand and glasses to auction. The exciting part for this as well is that 100% of the Hammer Price proceeds for these 2 pieces are going to go to charity, and both of them are valued at $30,000 to $50,000 each. So we're really hoping that the charity gets a lot of help from this auction.
Truck says fans should not be discouraged by the price tag on these items. The prop store has collectibles for all budgets from the price range of hundreds of thousands to the low hundreds.
Such as these background shoes from the movie Elf. These will be in the lower range of prices, but the hope is that with 1,300 lots, anybody that's a fan of these films can come and walk away with something that they love.
The prop store says the live auction over 3 days is worth in excess of $6.1 million.
In motorsports, Britain's Alfyn Evans has retained his overnight lead after the early stages of the Portuguese rally. The Toyota driver pressed home his advantage to lead Spaniard Danny Sordo's Hyundai by over 26 seconds. Championship leader Sebastian Ogier of France lies in 3rd place, nearly a minute and a half behind Evans. Estonian Ott Tänak, who dominated the rally with 7 stage wins, is now in 13th place. In the Pakistan Super League, all the franchises have finalized their squad for the remaining matches of the league in an online session. Multan Sultan selected West Indies' explosive duo of Sherman Hetmyer and Johnson Charles. Sultans also inducted all-rounder Hamad Azam and the UAE's Mohammad Wasim. Quetta Gladiators picked Australia's duo of Jack Wildermuth and Jake Weatherholt and Afghanistan's Zahir Khan, while Lahore Qalandars have drafted Singapore's Tim David, with Rashid Khan rejoining the side for the remainder of the PSL. Meanwhile, Peshawar Zalmi selected wicket-keeper batsman Bismillah Khan. The tournament was postponed in March after a coronavirus outbreak and is set to resume in the first week of June in Abu Dhabi. In football, Atletico Madrid have won the La Liga title, getting an unassailable lead on the points table after beating Real Valladolid. Valladolid took a shock lead in the 18th minute when Oscar Plano slotted past Jan Oblak. Atletico missed a series of clear opportunities, but they drew level after a moment of solo magic from Angel Correa. Former Barcelona striker Luis Suarez fired them into a decisive lead in the 58th minute. Atletico finished with 86 points, while the closest rivals Real Madrid defeated Villarreal 2-1, but could not overhaul a 2-point deficit. Lionel Messi's Barcelona managed a third spot with 74 points. In German Bundesliga, champions Bayern Munich have thrashed Augsburg 5-2 in the last and final match of the season. Robert Lewandowski scored in the last minute to break Gerd Muller's 41-goal scoring record for a season. Bayern were 4-0 up at the interval, but Augsburg scored 2 goals early in the second half to reduce the deficit. In another fixture, Erling Haaland's brace helped Borussia Dortmund oust Bayern Leverkusen 3-1 in their last match. Bayern Munich have already won the league and remain 13 points clear at the end of the season. RB Leipzig finished on the second spot, while Dortmund managed to secure the third position. Italy's Benedetta Pilato has broken the women's 50-meter breaststroke world record at the European Swimming Championships in Budapest. Pilato dashed through the 29.3 seconds in the semifinal, smashing the previous best of 29.4 by U.S. swimmer Lily King. On the men's side, Britain's world and Olympic 100-meter breaststroke champion Adam Peaty defeated his 50-meter title. Peaty bagged his third European gold of the week with a winning time of 26.21 seconds. Britain extended their lead over Russia at the top of the medals table with 9 golds, 7 silvers, and 4 bronze. It's now time to take a look at the weather updates from around the world. For the latest news updates, you can follow us on our social media at indus.news.